rain had not stopped for 3 days in the quiet town of Greystone Hollow. The streets gleamed with silver puddles reflecting the dim glow of gas lamps, and a cold mist lingered like a ghost that refused to leave. In an old 2-story house at the end of Willow Street, a young woman named Alara Wren sat by the window, her fingers tracing the condensation on the glass as if trying to write a memory she no longer possessed. It had been 2 years since Alara woke up in that very house with no recollection of who she was. The doctors called it retrograde amnesia, but that word meant little to her. To Alara, it felt like she had been born again into someone else's unfinished life. There were photos of her around the house, smiling, happy, alive, but they felt like strangers' faces. Every morning she stared at those images, whispering, "Who are you really?" The only person who seemed to know her past was Dr. Isaac Cole, a neurologist who visited once a week. He had a calm voice and kind eyes, but there was something he never said. Every time Alara asked about her life before the accident, he would change the subject. "You're healing," he'd say, and sometimes remembering too soon can break what's trying to mend. But Alara's curiosity had grown into obsession. She began to keep a journal, writing down dreams that felt too vivid to be imagined. A field of white flowers, a red scarf fluttering in the wind, a voice whispering her name in the dark, Illyria. That was not her name. Or was it? One night, unable to sleep, she went to the attic. The wooden stairs creaked beneath her feet as she carried a candle through the dust and shadows. She had searched the place before, but something pulled her there again. A strange sound, faint and rhythmic, like a heartbeat, behind the walls. She moved boxes aside until her candlelight revealed an old trunk covered in cobwebs. The lock was rusted, but it gave way under her trembling hands. Inside lay faded letters tied with a red ribbon and a silver locket shaped like a tear. The locket opened easily, revealing 2 pictures, one of her and another of a young man with storm-gray eyes. Her pulse quickened. The name on the back of the photograph read, "For Illyria, forever yours, A." Illyria. That name again. Alara sat frozen. The candle flickered as the rain outside turned to thunder. She clutched the locket, and in that moment, a rush of images stormed her mind. Laughter by a lake, a promise beneath an oak tree, a hand slipping away into darkness. Then, nothing but the echo of that name. When she awoke the next morning, she was on the attic floor, her candle long melted. The letters were scattered around her. She picked one up and began to read. "My dearest Illyria, if you ever find this, it means I have failed to keep my promise. They are coming for me, and I fear they will erase us both. If you forget me, it will be safer. But if you remember, run. Aiden." The words blurred as tears filled her eyes. She could almost hear his voice, desperate, tender, real. But who was they? That afternoon, Dr. Cole arrived as usual. Alara hid the letters before letting him in. "You look pale," he said softly, examining her pupils. "Any headaches?" "Just dreams," she murmured. "Strange ones." He smiled faintly. "Dreams are how the mind tries to speak." "Or hide," she whispered. He froze for just a moment, a pause too sharp to miss. Alara watched his eyes shift to the attic door. "Have you been exploring?" he asked. She shrugged. "Just cleaning." Dr. Cole nodded, but seemed uneasy. He left soon after, though not before slipping something from the table into his pocket. A small silver key she hadn't noticed was missing. When he drove away, Alara's unease turned to dread. That night, she followed him. Greystone Hollow was small enough that she could track his car easily, keeping to the shadows. He stopped outside an abandoned asylum at the edge of town, a place the locals whispered about but never entered. Alara watched him unlock the gates and vanish inside. Her heart hammered. Every instinct told her to run, but something deeper, the voice that whispered Illyria, urged her forward. Inside the asylum, the air smelled of rust and decay. Faded records lay strewn across the floor. In a room labeled Patient 43, Illyria Wren, she found a file with her picture on it. Only the name was different. The notes inside were written in Dr. Cole's handwriting. Subject retains fragmented memory of Project Echo. Identity must remain suppressed. Monitor for resurgence of the Aiden construct. Aiden construct? She turned another page and gasped. A photo of Aiden, alive but restrained, his eyes filled with defiance. The caption read, Subject 44, Neural Imprint Donor. The room spun. Her knees buckled as realization crashed over her. They had experimented on them. She wasn't just a Lara or Illyria. She was someone built from someone else's memories, half her own, half stolen. A soft voice echoed from behind. I told you not to remember. Dr. Cole stood at the doorway, holding a syringe filled with a clear liquid. Why? She whispered. Because you were never meant to wake up, he said quietly. Illyria died that night. We saved what we could, pieces of her mind, her essence. But you're something new, something that wasn't supposed to feel. Alara backed away. And Aiden. He sighed. He refused to let go. He volunteered to bring you back. But his consciousness fractured. He's gone. No, she whispered. He's not gone. He's in me. She threw the locket at his feet, and before he could react, she ran. Through corridors and stairwells, her mind replayed flashes, Aiden's laughter, their last kiss, the promise. If they erase you, I'll find you again. She escaped into the night. The rain poured harder than ever, drenching her clothes, washing away the lies. Days turned into weeks. Alara, or Illyria, lived like a shadow, moving from town to town, trying to piece together what she was. Her reflection felt foreign, yet within her heartbeat she felt Aiden's presence, faint but real. One morning, she woke to a whisper in her ear. Ilara. She turned, no one. But the locket glowed, faintly. Inside it, the picture had changed. Aiden was smiling again, and beneath it, new words shimmered in faint etching. You remembered. Now find me. She followed the clues carved inside the locket, coordinates that led her deep into the forest outside Greystone Hollow. There she found an old cabin with strange machinery humming inside. On a table lay a pod-shaped device, glass cracked, wire sparking. Inside, suspended in faded blue light, was Aiden. He looked peaceful, asleep, but alive. Ilara touched the glass. The machine flickered. System integrity failing. A mechanical voice said. Neural link unstable. Then, through static, Aiden's voice came. Illyria, you found me. Tears streamed down her face. I remember everything. Then, you know what we tried to do. They wanted to control memory, make people forget who they were. But we wanted freedom. Can I save you? She asked. Aiden's voice trembled. Only one of us can live outside this machine. If you release me, your consciousness will fade. If you stay, I die. She hesitated, her heart splitting in two. There has to be another way. There never was. She looked into his eyes, the same storm gray eyes that haunted her dreams. Then I choose you, she whispered. No, his voice broke. You're real now. You deserve life. But Alara smiled softly. You gave me life. Let me give it back. She pressed the release. The machine's alarm screamed. Light engulfed the room, and Aiden gasped as air filled his lungs for the first time in years. Alara collapsed, her vision fading as she whispered, Don't forget my name. When Aiden opened his eyes, the pod was silent. The locket lay beside him, still warm. Inside it, the picture of Illyria had changed. She was smiling, eyes closed, at peace. He walked out into the sunlight for the first time, the rain finally gone. He wore the locket around his neck, whispering her name like a prayer. Ilara, Illyria, the forgotten name. And somewhere in the wind, a voice replied, soft, eternal, free.